All right. A 3-game shooting slump. And other than that, in the injuries, it's been business as usual for most games. And she had a triple-double this year. So let's take a look at this because we learned a lot here. And it, to me, shows that when it comes to Caitlin Clark, these players are not getting any better.
The 2025 WNBA All-Star Game voting results have revealed significant disparities in how different groups evaluate Caitlin Clark's performance and worthiness for recognition. The voting breakdown across fan, media, and player categories shows dramatic variations that highlight underlying tensions within the professional women's basketball community. Clark secured her position as team captain by accumulating a record-breaking 2.93 million fan votes, demonstrating her overwhelming popularity with the basketball viewing public. This unprecedented level of fan support established her as one of the most marketable and recognizable figures in women's professional sports. However, the complete voting picture presents a more complex narrative about her standing within different basketball constituencies.
Kiki Iriafen has been better than Aaliyah Boston. And you might be saying, oh, Kiki just struggled for her last 3 or 4 games. Well, that doesn't really make that much sense either, because if these votes were taken back then, it makes some of the guard votes even more embarrassing. If these votes were taken 4 or 5 games ago, A'ja Wilson's team was 2 games below 500, and Napheesa Collier's team had lost 1 game. They'd lost 1 game up to that point. So
the All-Star selection process incorporates 3 distinct voting groups, each carrying different weights in the final determination. Fan votes account for 50% of the total score, while media and player votes each contribute 25%. This weighted system aims to balance popular appeal with professional evaluation and peer recognition.
I think they're locked in. They're bound and determined to hate on the Indiana Fever guard. And I think a lot of it's got to do with how popular she is with the fans and the television ratings and everything. We know that they can't stand her for. It showed up in this vote. Seriously. The 2025 WNBA All-Star Game is fast approaching, and the player pool is filling up after Caitlin Clark and Napheesa Collier were.
Clark's performance across these 3 categories reveals striking inconsistencies. While fans overwhelmingly supported her candidacy, placing her first among all guards, the media evaluation positioned her 3rd in their rankings. Most notably, fellow WNBA players ranked her 9th among guards in their voting, creating a significant disparity that affected her overall weighted score. This 9th place ranking from players represents a particularly noteworthy aspect of the voting results. Clark's statistical performance during the season includes averaging 18 points per game and leading the league in assists with 8.9 per contest. She has also recorded a triple-double during the current season, demonstrating her versatility and impact across multiple statistical categories.
what are we doing? Why is Napheesa Collier... I'm not joking when I say this. How did Napheesa Collier go below A'ja Wilson in the player vote? There's no logic to it. Fee is averaging more points on a better team, playing better defense. I don't get it. Brianna Stewart was below Nneka Nwumeke. I don't mind that in player votes and media rank. Aaliyah Boston almost didn't get an all-star starter spot because the media...
The contrast becomes more apparent when examining other players' voting patterns. Skylar Diggins, who averages 18.9 points and 6.1 assists per game while ranking 7th in league scoring and 4th in assists, received different treatment across voting categories. She placed 4th in media voting and 3rd in player voting, but dropped to 9th in fan voting, ultimately preventing her from securing a starting position despite strong peer and media support. Paige Bueckers emerged as another significant storyline in the voting results. The rookie guard earned recognition as just the 6th first-year player to achieve All-Star starter status, joining an exclusive group that includes Clark, Aaliyah Boston, Shea Chumlee, Brittany Griner, and Maya Moore. Bueckers' selection demonstrates that exceptional rookie performances can overcome typical experience-based preferences in All-Star voting.
Was named captains on Sunday by virtue of the most fan votes. The 8 other starters were revealed on Monday. Paige Bueckers, A'ja Wilson, Brianna Stewart, Nneka Nwumeke. The latter will make her 10th All-Star appearance. And far as some of the others guys, Alicia Gray, Sabrina Ionescu, Aaliyah Boston is named as starter, and Satu Sabali having a real good season, by the way.
The complete starting lineup includes several established stars alongside the rookie sensations: Asia Wilson, Brianna Stewart, Nneka Ogwumike, Alyssa Thomas, Sabrina Ionescu, and Satu Sabali round out the starting 10. Ogwumike's selection marks her 10th All-Star appearance, highlighting the balance between veteran recognition and emerging talent in the final roster. Reserve selections will be announced on July 6th, followed by the draft process on July 8th, where Clark and fellow captain Afi Collier will select their respective teams. This draft format adds an additional competitive element to the All-Star Weekend festivities while showcasing the personalities and preferences of the team leaders.
I ranked her as the 9th best forward. Not only that, the media ranked Aaliyah Boston below Kiki Iriafen. And by the way, Angel Reese as the 12th best forward, I think is a bit of a crazy one. Is a bit of a crazy... you know what? To be fair, like, Angel Reese did, if it was done 3 games ago, Angel did have 2 of her best 3 games of the season or her 2 best games of the season in the last 3 games. So there was maybe a little bit to say for that, but still, either way, like,
the voting disparities raise questions about the evaluation criteria different groups prioritize when assessing player performance. Fan voting often emphasizes marketability, highlight reel plays, and cultural impact beyond pure basketball metrics. Media evaluation typically focuses on comprehensive statistical analysis, team impact, and professional basketball knowledge. Player voting theoretically represents peer assessment based on direct competition experience and intimate understanding of individual contributions.
The way. And I probably mentioned Asia Wilson. So the reserves are up next, all right? The reserves will be announced on July 6th, so another week. Once the full player pool has been determined, Clark and Collier will draft their rosters on July 8th. Now, let's look at this next subtitle right here. Players not high on Caitlin Clark.
Clark's statistical profile during this period includes some areas of struggle alongside her strengths. She has experienced a recent 3-game shooting slump that temporarily affected her overall field goal percentages. Her 3-point shooting percentage has fluctuated around 30%, which falls below elite standards for perimeter shooting specialists. However, these temporary struggles occur within the context of her overall offensive production and playmaking excellence. The turnover aspect of Clark's game has drawn criticism from some observers who question whether her aggressive playmaking style creates too many possessions for opposing teams. However, statistical analysis typically evaluates turnover rates in context with assist rates and overall offensive responsibility, suggesting that high-usage players naturally generate higher turnover numbers.
Angel was only the 5th highest voted forward. So her fans, dear Lord, you guys got to get out there and vote. You guys got to get out there and vote. But for me, this is a travesty that Kiki Iriafen was voted over Aaliyah Boston. But now we've got the worst. And by the way, we at least know who the players voted under Aaliyah Boston were. Over Aaliyah Boston. We know. I don't even think Gabby Williams over Aaliyah Boston is the worst decision in the world. Alyssa Thomas over Aaliyah Boston.
Television ratings data supports the argument that Clark's presence significantly impacts viewership numbers for WNBA games. Her games consistently draw larger audiences than average league contests, contributing to increased revenue and exposure for the entire organization. The All-Star Game itself traditionally achieves strong ratings, and Clark's participation in Indianapolis is expected to generate exceptional viewership numbers. The Indianapolis location adds another layer of significance to this year's All-Star festivities. Playing in Indiana provides Clark with something approaching a home court advantage, while potentially maximizing local and regional interest in the event. This geographic factor could contribute to record-breaking attendance and television ratings that benefit all participating players.
They can't help it. It's crazy. Caitlin Clark was named captain because she received the most fan votes, a record-setting 2.93 million, almost 2.3 million. But she did not have the highest weighted score among guards. That's not even the total issue here. It's how bad this gets otherwise. While she finished first in fan voting,
Historical precedent suggests that voting controversies often generate additional interest and discussion around all-star events. The disparity between fan enthusiasm and player evaluation creates narrative tension that sports media and fans find compelling. This type of storyline often translates into increased engagement with the actual game and surrounding events. The broader implications extend beyond individual recognition to questions about how professional athletes evaluate their peers versus how the public and media assess the same performances. These differences reflect varying priorities, access to information, and personal relationships that influence voting decisions across different constituencies.
Obviously. But it's just the Kiki Iriafen one that's a shock. I have no idea who's between Aaliyah and Angel Reese, but there's no way Kiki Iriafen. There's no way Angel Reese should be any lower than 8th. Realistically, should be top 7. But at the end of the day, the players voted Satu Sabli over Alyssa Thomas. As in, the engine that makes the Phoenix Mercury go was voted below a 30% shooter. I don't know. But then we've got the guards, and this is embarrassing. This one's embarrassing because, again,
Clark's injury history during the season adds context to the voting considerations. She has missed some games due to various physical issues, which may have affected both her statistical totals and her peers' perception of her availability and durability. Professional athletes often value consistency and reliability when evaluating colleagues for special recognition. The voting results ultimately demonstrate the complex dynamics within professional women's basketball, where talent recognition intersects with popularity, media attention, and interpersonal relationships among competitors. These factors combine to create voting patterns that don't always align with conventional statistical analysis or fan expectations.
And third in media voting, she was 9th. She was 9th in player voting. God, the level of disrespect by these players in the league is putrid. It's puke. As a result, her weighted score was a 3.5, just behind Paige Beckers. What? Beckers has been outstanding to start her.
Looking ahead to the actual All-Star game, these voting controversies may add competitive edge to what is typically a celebratory exhibition. Players' awareness of the voting disparities could influence their approach to the game and their interactions with both teammates and opponents during the festivities. The WNBA All-Star player voting results have revealed several questionable decisions that raise concerns about the evaluation process. The voting breakdown shows significant discrepancies between player performance metrics and their rankings, particularly in both forward and guard positions.
If this was 3 games ago, it was before Caitlin Clark's second injury. So the last couple of games, in fairness, she did have a 2 or 3 game slump when the players are voting, but like they voted her 9th best guard in the WNBA. They voted Paige the 4th best guard, and I actually don't even disagree with Paige the 4th best guard. They voted Natasha Cloud as the 4th best guard in the WNBA. Natasha Cloud.
Among the forward selections, one of the most controversial decisions involves Kiki Iriafen receiving higher votes than Aaliyah Boston. This ranking appears problematic considering Iriafen's position within her own team hierarchy. She isn't recognized as the top performer on her squad, nor is she considered the strongest rookie on a team that hasn't secured playoff positioning. The comparison becomes more striking when examining Boston's overall contributions and team success. The voting inconsistencies extend to other prominent forwards. Napheesa Collier, despite leading a team with an exceptional record and posting superior individual statistics, received fewer player votes than Aya Wilson. This decision lacks logical foundation when considering Collier's scoring averages, defensive impact, and team performance. Collier demonstrates excellence across multiple facets of the game while maintaining efficiency on a more successful team.
Professional career, joined by exclusive club of rookies to be named starters in the All-Star game. Becker's just the 6th first-year player to achieve the feat, joining Clark, Boston, Shoni Schimmel, Brittany Griner, and Maya Moore. I mean, wow. Now, by the other side of the token, Skylar Diggins was not high for the fans. She's 7th in the league in scoring. And
additional forward rankings raised eyebrows, including Brianna Stewart's placement below Nneka Ogwumike in player votes. While this positioning might have some justification, the pattern of unexpected rankings continues throughout the voting results. Boston nearly missed an all-star starting position due to media rankings, placing her 9th among forwards, with some outlets ranking her below Iriafen. Angel Reese's placement as the 12th ranked forward also generated discussion, though her recent strong performances may have occurred after the voting period. Despite her lower ranking, Reese received only the 5th highest vote total among forwards, suggesting her fan base could have been more active in the voting process.
She's not even the 4th best player on her team. We've seen, by the way, we have seen the New York Liberty without Leo Phoebish, and we've seen them without we've seen them without her, and we've seen them without Jonquil Jones. They are clearly more important to this team than Tash Cloud. They're clearly more important to their team. And then we also saw Brittany Sykes get voted.
The guard position voting revealed even more concerning patterns. Caitlin Clark received votes, placing her as the 9th best guard in the league, despite her significant impact on viewership and team performance. This ranking becomes particularly puzzling when considering the timeline of voting, which likely occurred before her recent injury, but during a brief shooting slump. Several guard rankings appeared disconnected from on-court contributions. Natasha Cloud received votes as the 4th best guard in the WNBA, despite not being among the top 4 most impactful players on her own team. The New York Liberty has demonstrated their ability to compete effectively without Cloud, while other teammates have shown greater importance to team success.
4th in assists at 18.9 points a game, 6.1 assists, but she missed out on the starting spot because she was so low in the fan vote. While she was 4th in the media vote and 3rd in the player vote, she was 9th in the fan vote, which accounts for 50% of the total vote. As a result, her weighted score of 6.25 remained ranked 6th among guards. If it's any consolation, she will definitely be a
Brittany Sykes received 7th place votes, despite her team performing better in her absence. This evaluation suggests voters may not have considered advanced metrics or team impact when making their selections. The ranking becomes more questionable when compared to other guards who received lower votes, despite superior individual and team performance. 2 unidentified guards received votes above Clark, creating additional mystery around the voting process. These selections represent guards outside the top 10 overall who somehow earned recognition above one of the league's most visible and statistically productive players.
As a 7th best, I'm sorry, Brittany Sykes' team is better without her. Like Brittany Sykes over Caitlin Clark. And by the way, there are 2 guards that we have no idea. Like there are literally 2 guards that are not in the top 10 overall that got voted above Caitlin Clark. We've got no idea who they are. And by the way, Kelsey Plum at 16 is mental. It is mental. And it just shows the whole Aces run the damn league. So Kelsey Plum leaves the Aces. And by the way, I don't think Kelsey Plum has been.
Kelsey Plum's 16th place ranking stands out as particularly problematic. Plum has carried significant responsibility for her team, averaging 21 points and nearly 6 assists per game while leading a struggling squad to competitive performances. Her statistical production and leadership role suggests she deserved much higher consideration from fellow players. The voting pattern reveals potential bias regarding team success, as players from championship contending teams appear to receive preferential treatment regardless of individual merit. This approach creates inconsistencies when applied selectively, as some players from successful teams received lower rankings despite strong individual contributions.